Welcome to Rare Breed Brotherhood. Disappearing isn't running away, it's choosing yourself over noise. There comes a point where the world just feels too loud, too fake, too demanding. If you're a Sigma male or someone walking that lone path, you already know what it feels like to pull away, not because you're weak, but because you're done. Done playing social games. Done explaining yourself. Done trying to fit where you never belonged in the first place. This video isn't about glorifying vanishing like it's some mysterious act. It's about telling the truth. The real reasons why Sigma males disappear, without apology, without warning, and often without looking back. We're not talking about introversion or being different. We're talking about a way of moving through the world that most people don't understand, and never will. Sigma males aren't antisocial, they're selective. They don't isolate because they're broken. They vanish to reset, to reclaim, to evolve. Maybe you're watching this because you've felt that pull, to go silent, to detach, to vanish. Or maybe someone you know has gone ghost and you're trying to figure out why. Either way, you're not alone, and you're not crazy. This video is your mirror and your message. If you've ever felt misunderstood, stretched too thin, or like the world just doesn't get you, this is for you. Watch till the end. You'll walk away with clarity, strength, and maybe the permission you've been waiting for, to disappear in order to find yourself again. Number 1. They see the game and opt out. One of the biggest reasons Sigma males vanish? They see through the game, and they're just not playing it. From a young age, Sigma males pick up on something that most people either don't notice or just choose to accept, that a lot of what we call success is smoke and mirrors. The forced smiles, fake friendships, carefully curated images on social media, the office politics, the status chasing, it's all a giant performance. And once a Sigma male really sees that, he can't unsee it. He watches people pretend to like each other just to get ahead. He sees how shallow validation replaces real connection. He notices how everyone's climbing ladders they don't even want to be on, just because that's what they were told to do. And instead of jumping into the chaos, the Sigma steps back, quietly, calmly, almost invisibly. He's not interested in being the loudest in the room, the richest in the room, or even the most liked. What he wants is truth, real experience, freedom, authenticity, and none of that lives inside the game. So while others hustle for approval, the Sigma male opts out. Not because he's lazy, not because he's afraid, but because he knows the price of that kind of life is his peace, and that's a price he's never going to pay. People don't always understand when a Sigma disappears. They think he's isolating or being difficult. But in reality, he's just making a different choice. He's refusing to play roles that don't fit him. He's walking away from fake praise and fake people. He's choosing clarity over clout. And maybe you're the same. Maybe deep down you've always felt like the game wasn't for you either. If that resonates, keep watching. This video will take you deeper into the mindset behind the silence. You're not broken, you're just awake. And the moment you realize that, everything changes. Number 2, they're hunted for what they don't give. One of the most overlooked reasons Sigma males vanish is this: they're constantly being hunted for what they don't give. Here's what most people don't talk about. Society has expectations, not always spoken out loud, but definitely felt. You're expected to play nice, fit in, make others feel good about themselves, and hand out emotional energy like it's free candy. Smile when you don't feel like it. Nod when you disagree. Stay quiet to keep the peace. Sigma males, they don't do that. Not because they're cold or rude, but because they value their energy. They don't hand out fake praise. They don't pretend to care just to make someone else feel better. They won't validate egos they don't respect. And because they don't give these things, people start to notice, and not always in a good way. Friends, co-workers, even romantic partners start to pull at them, trying to squeeze out warmth, reassurance, or agreement. That's when the Sigma male disappears. He senses when people aren't connecting with him for who he is, but for what they can get from him. Whether it's attention, approval, or someone to lean on without ever giving back. And as soon as that shift happens, he's gone. No argument, no big speech, just distance, silence, vanish. And the truth is, Some people will never understand why. They'll call him distant, cold, even selfish. But what they don't realize is, Sigma males aren't here to be emotional vending machines. Their loyalty is rare, their energy is sacred, and they protect it like their life depends on it, because sometimes it actually does. So if you've ever felt this, felt people pulling at you for the parts of you they think they're entitled to, just know this. You're not crazy. You're not antisocial. You're not too much or not enough. You're just done being used. This is your permission to protect your peace, even if it means disappearing. Number 3, they choose peace over proving points. Here's something a lot of people don't understand about Sigma males. They're not interested in proving anything to anyone. Not their value, not their intelligence, not their intentions, nothing. While most people are out here arguing to be right, clapping back to be heard, or explaining themselves just to feel understood, the Sigma male is already halfway out the door. Why? Because he sees the trap. He knows that some conversations aren't about understanding, they're about ego. Some people don't want to listen, they want to win, and the moment a Sigma male senses that energy, he checks out. Not because he can't argue, but because he doesn't see the point in throwing wisdom into a room full of closed minds. It's not that he's passive, it's that he values peace over noise. His silence isn't weakness, it's a weapon. While others are stuck in circles of back and forth, trying to prove they're good enough, smart enough, or right enough, the Sigma male is conserving his energy. He knows that time is currency, and he's not spending it on debates that don't matter. He doesn't need to win arguments because he's not playing that game. His confidence doesn't come from being agreed with, it comes from being aligned with who he is. And sometimes that means disappearing mid-conversation, walking away from drama, cutting off the noise, and letting people think whatever they want. Because here's the truth. When you're truly grounded in who you are, silence is louder than shouting. So if you've ever been in a room, realized the conversation was pointless, and felt that urge to just go quiet, that's not weakness, that's strength, that's Sigma. You don't have to explain yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. This is your reminder that not every battle is yours to fight. Some things are better left unsaid, and sometimes the real flex is disappearing. Number 4, they've mastered the art of disappearing in plain sight. One of the most fascinating things about Sigma males is this: they don't always vanish with a dramatic exit. Most of the time they've already disappeared, and no one even noticed. A Sigma male can be sitting right in front of you, making eye contact, nodding politely, and still be miles away in his mind. He's there, but not really there. Why? Because he's mastered the art of disappearing in plain sight. This isn't about zoning out, it's about self-preservation. Sigma males have learned to disconnect from conversations, environments, and even people that drain them without causing a scene. They're experts at going quiet, pulling their energy inward, and creating distance even in the middle of chaos. And here's the kicker. They've been practicing this for years, in small ways. Every time they stayed silent in a loud room, every time they chose not to share their thoughts, every time they mentally checked out instead of reacting, they were rehearsing. So when it's finally time to disappear for real, it's not a breakdown. It's a move they've already mastered. To the outside world, it looks like nothing's wrong. But inside, the Sigma has already packed up emotionally, mentally, spiritually. The final act, physically walking away, is just a formality. People often don't realize what happened until much later. They say, "He seemed fine," or "He was just here." But that's the power of the Sigma. He doesn't need drama or noise to disappear. He just decides. And if you've ever felt yourself slowly detaching from the world around you, pulling back your energy, not out of hate, but out of necessity, then you know exactly what this feels like. Keep watching, because this is your confirmation that not every goodbye needs to be loud. Some of the strongest exits happen in silence. And the Sigma male? He's been preparing for it all along. Number 5, they spot the fakeness before it arrives. One of the sharpest tools in a Sigma male's arsenal is his intuition. And it's not some fluffy, vague feeling. It's ruthless, it's precise. It's the kind of radar that picks up fake energy, hidden agendas, and manipulative behavior before it even shows up fully. While most people get blindsided by drama, Sigma males are already gone before the chaos begins. They don't wait around for someone to show their true colors. They feel it coming. The forced smiles, the too perfect compliments, the weird shift in someone's tone. And they trust that gut feeling every single time. They notice the little things. The way someone suddenly gets overly friendly, the subtle brag hidden in a compliment, the strange tension that nobody else seems to acknowledge. To others, it might seem like they're overreacting. But Sigmas know better. They've seen this pattern before, and they've learned that sticking around only leads to wasted energy and unnecessary stress. So what do? They ghost early, quietly, no announcement, no confrontation, just a silent exit before the storm ever hits. And here's the real twist. People don't even know why they left, because the Sigma never sticks around long enough to be used, drained, or betrayed. They trust their instincts more than anyone's words. That's what keeps them safe. That's what keeps them powerful. This level of awareness doesn't come from paranoia. It comes from experience. Sigmas have felt the sting of trusting the wrong people, and now they've built a kind of sixth sense for anything fake. It's not about being cold. It's about staying clean from chaos. So if you've ever pulled back from someone and couldn't explain exactly why, but you just knew something felt off, you're not crazy. You're just tuned in. Keep watching, because in a world full of masks, the Sigma sees straight through. And when he vanishes, trust that he saw something others missed. Number 6, they are built for reinvention. Here's something people rarely understand about Sigma males. When they vanish, it's not because they're lost, it's because they're leveling up. Disappearing isn't a breakdown, it's part of their natural cycle. Like a snake shedding its skin, Sigma males walk away from old identities, environments, and versions of themselves without warning or apology. Not because they're running from something, but because they've outgrown it. They don't cling to the past, they don't fear change. In fact, they crave it. Reinvention is in their DNA. When things start feeling stale, whether it's a relationship, a job, or even a mindset, they start to feel trapped. And instead of sitting there trying to force it to work, they vanish. Not in a dramatic, attention-seeking way, but in that silent, powerful way that makes people wonder what happened. What's really happening? Transformation. Behind closed doors, the Sigma is reflecting, realigning, and rebuilding. While others chase distractions or seek external validation, the Sigma goes inward. They study, they plan, they reset. They strip away everything that no longer fits, old habits, old connections, even old ways of thinking. And when they come back, they don't return as the same version you remember. They come back sharper, stronger, upgraded. This is what makes them so misunderstood. People think they disappear because they're broken. But in reality, they vanish because they're about to break through. So if you've ever felt the need to pull back, disappear, shut off the noise, and just rework yourself from the ground up, that's not weakness, that's wisdom. The world is noisy. Reinvention requires silence. And Sigma males know that to become more, you sometimes have to step away from everything, just to hear your own thoughts again. Keep watching, because if you've ever felt the urge to disappear and rebuild in private, you're not alone. You're just wired for evolution, just like the Sigma. Number 7, they don't fear losing people. Here's one of the realest things about Sigma males, and it catches a lot of people off guard. They don't fear losing people. Not friends, not lovers, not family. If something feels off, unbalanced, fake, or draining, they'll walk away. No drama, no speech, just gone. It's not because they're cold-hearted or emotionally shut down. In fact, it's the opposite. They feel things deeply. But unlike most people, they don't cling. They don't beg. They don't stay somewhere that doesn't feel right just because they've built history there. To a Sigma, peace is more important than attachment. Most people stay in relationships way past their expiration date, out of guilt, out of fear, out of comfort. But Sigma males, the moment they sense the energy shifting, when trust fades, when respect disappears, or when the vibe just doesn't sit right, they pull back, quietly and permanently. They're not afraid to be alone, which is what makes them so dangerous in a world that thrives on emotional dependency. They don't chase. They don't need closure. And they sure as hell don't stay just to be polite. This shakes people. especially those used to being needed or tolerated. When a Sigma walks away, it's not about teaching someone a lesson. It's just a clean break, a decision, a boundary. And maybe you felt that too, that inner voice saying, this connection isn't for me anymore. Not out of hate, not out of spite, just truth. That's your Sigma instinct kicking in. If you've ever walked away from someone without burning bridges or causing a scene, just a silent exit for your own sanity, you're not heartless. You're just awake enough to know your value. Keep watching to the end because this might be the reminder you need. You don't have to hold on to people just because they've been around. Sometimes walking away isn't loss, it's liberation. Number 8, they're addicted to freedom. If there's one thing Sigma males value above everything else, it's freedom. Not just physical freedom, but mental, emotional, and spiritual freedom. The kind that lets you breathe without pressure, move without explaining, exist without being controlled. And the truth is, they're addicted to it. To a Sigma, obligations, routines, and social expectations feel like cages. The moment something starts to feel like a trap, even if it looks good on paper, they feel the urge to escape. That nice job with the steady paycheck? If it's soul-draining, they'll walk. That relationship with comfort but no spark? Gone. That friend group where they have to pretend to fit in? Not a chance. It's not about being reckless. It's about not selling their soul for security. Sigmas need space to think, grow, evolve. And when that space is threatened, they'll burn the whole structure down if they have to, just to feel the air hit their lungs again. They don't thrive under control. They don't like being told who to be, where to go, or how to act. So when life starts piling on rules, roles, and responsibilities that don't align with their inner truth, they vanish. It's not rebellion, it's survival. And that's what makes them so powerful, because most people stay trapped in lives they hate just to keep others happy. But the Sigma, he'd rather be misunderstood and free than accepted and miserable. So if you've ever felt suffocated by routine, drained by expectations, or like the world was trying to mold you into someone you're not alone. That urge to cut ties, to start over, to find your own rhythm, that's the Sigma fire in you. Don't stop being who you're, because in a world trying to tame you, staying wild might just be your greatest strength. And sometimes, true freedom begins the moment you walk away from what's normal. Number 9. They can't be possessed, only witnessed. There's something you need to understand about Sigma males. They're not here to be owned, defined, or controlled. They move through the world on their own terms. The second someone tries to put them in a box, slap a label on them, or wrap them up like a possession, they're gone. You don't own a Sigma, you experience one. This is where a lot of people get it wrong. They meet a Sigma, feel that magnetic energy, that depth, that mystery, and they want more. But instead of simply appreciating who he is, they try to claim him, lock it down, shape it, make it permanent. But Sigmas don't do ownership, not emotionally, socially, or romantically. The moment it starts feeling like control, even in the smallest way, they disappear. They're not afraid of commitment, they're afraid of confinement. There's a difference. Try to define them, and they'll prove you wrong. Try to possess them, and they'll slip right through your fingers. They're not here to play roles or meet expectations. They're here to be, not to belong. And it's not about rebellion, it's about identity. Sigmas are deeply self-aware. They know who they are, what they value, and what they need to feel alive. So when someone, no matter how close, starts chipping away at that freedom, even with good intentions, the Sigma's instinct is to pull back, sometimes quietly, sometimes suddenly, but always completely. So if you've ever felt that burning need to protect your space, your identity, your essence, you're not broken. You're just built like a Sigma. You're not meant to be owned. You're meant to be witnessed, respected, and allowed to roam. Continue watching Brothers, because when you stop trying to fit into what others expect and start living in your truth, you'll see freedom isn't just what you want. It's who you are. Number 10. They know that true power requires distance. One of the most misunderstood moves a Sigma male makes is this. He steps back. And to most people, that looks like weakness, like avoidance, like he's fading out. But that couldn't be further from the truth. What he's really doing is recalibrating because he knows something most people don't. True power doesn't scream, it pulls. And to pull, you need distance. Think about it. When you're always around, always talking, always available, people start to take you for granted. Your presence becomes expected, your voice gets drowned out, your impact fades. But Sigmas, they refuse to be background noise. They're not here to be constantly present, they're here to be felt. And the way they do that is by disappearing at the right time. They don't vanish out of fear, they vanish to regain their edge. It's not retreat, it's recalculation. While the world is busy performing, the Sigma is in the shadows, watching, learning, sharpening. And when he returns, it's never the same version. He's clearer, colder, more focused. It's not about playing games. It's about preserving power. A Sigma understands that mystery is magnetic, and silence is a weapon. Being unpredictable keeps people alert. Being distant keeps his energy clean. And here's the twist. His absence says more than most people's constant noise. When he's not there, people notice. They wonder. They feel it. That's impact. That's presence without having to physically be present. So if you've ever felt the urge to step back, unplug, or remove yourself, not because you're lost, but because you're recharging, that's not weakness. That's intelligence. Keep watching, because in a world that pressures you to always show up, the Sigma shows us that sometimes the most powerful move is to step away, not to hide, but to return sharper, louder, unignorable. Number 11. They are not afraid of being forgotten. Here's something that sets Sigma males apart from almost everyone else. They don't fear being forgotten. While most people are terrified of fading into the background, of becoming irrelevant or unseen, Sigmas, they welcome it. Why? Because vanishing to them isn't a failure, it's a reset, a cleanse, a way to strip off everything that's been projected onto them, expectations, roles, noise, pressure, and return to their raw, unfiltered self. We live in a world obsessed with attention, likes, followers, applause. Everyone's fighting to stay in the spotlight, terrified that if they disappear for even a second, they'll be replaced or ignored. But Sigma males operate on an entirely different frequency. They don't need the world's eyes on them to feel alive. In fact, the less attention they get, the more real they become. They know that disappearing doesn't mean disappearing forever. It means stepping back to reflect, to rebuild, to reconnect with themselves. It's not a vanishing act for drama, it's a strategic withdrawal. And if people forget them while they're gone, so what? Sigmas aren't out here trying to leave a legacy for validation. They're focused on alignment, not applause. They'd rather be at peace in the shadows than perform in the spotlight. And if their silence makes people move on or forget them, they see it as natural selection, not rejection. Because when they return, if they return, it's always on their own terms, stronger, cleaner, lighter. So if you've ever pulled back from the world, unplugged from the noise, or felt totally okay with being off the radar, you're not fading. You're freeing yourself. Keep watching, because sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is let the world forget you while you remember who you really are. Conclusion. Here's the truth. Sigma males don't vanish to escape life. They vanish to face it more clearly. They're not ghosts. They're not running. They're not broken. They're just built differently. In a world that constantly demands performance, constant presence, and emotional availability on demand, Sigma males choose space. They choose silence over noise, substance over appearance, freedom over approval. And while most chase validation, Sigmas chase alignment with who they are, what they believe in, and where they're heading. That's why they pull away. That's why they disappear from places, people, and patterns that no longer feed their soul. Not out of bitterness, but out of clarity. You may not always understand their silence. You may not get a heads up when they walk, but know this. Every time a Sigma vanishes, he's rebuilding, refining, resetting. He's not lost, he's becoming. And when he comes back, it's never as the same man who left. So if you're watching this and you've ever felt like you needed to pull back, disconnect, or detach, just to hear your own voice again, you're not alone. That instinct to withdraw, it's not weakness, it's wisdom. It means you value your energy, your peace, your growth. Let the world chase attention. Let others fight for relevance. You learn from the Sigma. Protect your inner world. Guard your solitude, disappear when needed, but always return with more power, more truth, and more of yourself. And if you're ready to keep uncovering what sets Sigma males apart from the crowd, hit that next video. There's more to learn, and even more to unlearn. Thank you for watching. God bless you.